Hi guys, let's just do a visual and sound check. Make sure that everything's working. I just had some technical problems, so hopefully you can all hear me. Peace, I saw you put something up about technical issues there, and I'd love to know what that was. Sorry guys, I just feel like collapsing in a heap at the minute. Things don't want to work. Come on. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. So the hamster needs feeding. Loud and clear. Excellent. Thank you. Yes, I did change the glasses from my other ones. I'm trying to do different pair each day, although I did have my other ones on earlier today because I forgot to change them to these ones. But then when I go running, I wear my old ones because I don't want to break my new ones. And then I ended up wearing them for about an hour because, you know, you just couldn't, I just couldn't see. I'm like, oh, why can't I see? What's going on? Yeah. Okay, so we have people in the chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you for waiting for me. Made me look. No, I knew because I'd actually gone to change them before before I came live. I was running late. I had my dinner and my stomach's decided to go funny, so I've got a bit of pain, actually, which reminds me, I did have a glug of Gaviscon. Just going to take a Gaviscon tablet, so I'm going to have this in my mouth while I'm talking to you guys, so I do apologise. Not had time for makeup or my hair, so it's just a bit meh today. It's just been one of those days. It really has been one of those days. You know, you make a plan to do stuff, as I do on a daily basis, and only a few things get done off of that list, which is quite annoying at times. Yeah, I'm really not very good at sticking to lists of doing things, and it is something that is going to be part of my New Year's spell. So I'm going to be talking about that. I'm going to be doing I'm going to be recording a video on that. Hopefully sometime tomorrow, because I'm away on New Year's Eve. I'm actually going to a party in the forest. We're having a fire and drumming and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. That was a sort of, last minute thing that I got invited to. And I'm like, yes, I will come, because normally on New Year's Eve, I'm sat in front of the telly falling asleep. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm just going to see who's in the chat. Hi, Chris C. So we've got some spanners in. We've got Diz and Chris C. So please, trolls, if you are there, be polite. I will converse with you, but only if you're polite. Chris and Diz are very, very quick at responding to any nastiness in the chat, because we have a really beautiful community in the chat. And, you know, we support each other. So let's keep that nice and friendly and good-mannered. And if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all, you know. Pete's, hi, lovely. You've been sleeping since dialysis earlier. Oh, bless you. Hi, Lana. Good morning to you. Hope everything's okay on the other side of the world. Let's have a look. Draka and Alexis, lovely to see you. Thanks for joining. Yeah, well, I'm recovering from Crimbo. Although if my stomach sorts itself out before I finish the live, afterwards I've got one of those small Christmas puddings to have, and I'm hoping that I can have that, because otherwise the brandy cream is going to go off. So yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, so I had technical issues. Sorry about that, guys. Chris has orders to do, which is fabulous. Chris, do you have a website? If you do, please put a link up to that in chat. Anybody with pets, Chris makes some wonderful bandanas and so on for dogs and cats, and let's support our chat people with the work that they do. You know, all of us content creators who are in the same sort of group we support each other. We always link other people's websites and so on and YouTube channels. And also, if you do anything that is something that you have a website for, or an Etsy or a eBay or whatever, please let us know, and then Chris or Diz can link it into the chat. Okay, I've just seen your post there, Chris, on my other thing, so I'm going to come to that in a minute, actually. Let me change my glasses. Yeah, that was me. Let me change my glasses. No, it wasn't actually to do with my glasses. It was to do with a button on the live stream that they have moved, as YouTube does this stuff without letting us know. Change glasses and still seeing tech issues. Yes, I was. Just had to refresh your stream. Sorry about that, Chris. I don't know. Tinternet, that's it, isn't it? Hi, Liz. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. I'm missing some comments here, guys. So if I have missed you, I do apologize. Hi, Mithril. Thank you for joining. Your website is bonniepaws.uk. Sell dog lead sleeves, personalized bandanas, and treat jars. We'll be updating the designs over the next few days. So, guys, if you do have pets and you want to buy them some new gear, please check out Chris. I believe that he makes fantastic stuff. I want to order something for Thorn. It's going to have to wait a few days, though, I'm afraid. Let me just change this to all chat, because it automatically chooses top chat instead of live chat. So then I don't see all of the comments. And I saw that Chris posted that. See, that's that comment that you made, Chris. Oh, there you go. It's appeared now. It looks like the US have launched a missile strike against a target in Venezuela. So there's the first WTF, what the fuck moment of today's show. Like, what the fuck? SMH. Facepalm. You know, the one thing that I do like about the internet and about the abbreviations that we use is the WTF and SMH and LOL are so easy to type. So today's probably going to be quite a big sweary episode, because there's lots of what the fucks. Pete says he can endorse Chris's products, first class, top quality, delivery awesome, price is right. Fantastic. Thank you, Pete, for putting that up. Really appreciate it. Or if you have family and friends with furry friends, my products are perfect gifts. Fantastic, Chris. Thank you so much. I want to get something for my sister's doggy. Hi, Regan Elite. Thanks for joining, my love. Good to have you here. And thank you for mentioning me on the show this morning. I really do appreciate it. Like I was saying to everybody in the chat a short while ago, you know, it's so nice that we have this community of different content creators. We all follow each other. We all watch each other's shows, and we all promote each other's shows, which I think is wonderful. And I was just saying, so Chris or Diz, if you can pop a link to Regan Elite's channel into the chat as well. I think most of you do already follow Regan Elite, but if you don't, please give his channel a look. I think, are you going live later on at 8 p.m. this evening? I can't remember now. I think you said something earlier, but I was getting ready for my run, so I was a bit dear my car. Vandaag. Oh, I was all over the place. Sorry, I've just seen that pop up, Chris, on here. I can see better on this screen because it's bigger than this screen. What the fuck? So yes, Liz Allen, what the fuck? That is what we're talking about today, is what the fuck moments. And Chris has just said what makes it more of a facepalm moment is it took place on the same day that he's hosting Peace Talks. Those peace talks are with, forgive me if I'm wrong, Ukraine and Russia, which is a complete waste of time. I think the only reason that Trump is doing this is because he wants the peace, the reward. The word has gone. The word has gone. Menopause brain. Nobel Peace Prize, that's it. He wants the Nobel Peace Prize. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing that. Let's have a look. Hi, Stephen. I did see Billy on here somewhere as well. I don't know, his comment seems to have vanished, but Billy, if you're watching, thank you for joining. Stephen Bankier, thank you for joining. He's also hosting talks with Israel as well today. Well, to be honest, you know, those talks are not going to work because Trump likes to stick his oar into everything, and there's probably going to end up with World War III from him. You know, nobody likes him. Like I was saying yesterday with 3i Atlas, another what the fuck moment, but with 3i Atlas bypassing Earth and going on towards Jupiter, you know, why would it want to stop here? Why? When this world is just full of dumb fucks. It really is. And people, the dumb fucks, have voted the dumb fucks into power, which it just defies all logic. It really defies logic. Who is worse, chat, Donald Trump or George W. Bush? Actually, that is a really good one. Let me do a, can't see it now. I was going to do a poll because you can do polls, and now I can't find one. Hang on, guys. No, that's not showing up. Oh, maybe there. Yes. So which warmonger was worse? Sorry, hang on. My battery's come out of my... It's a what the fuck day. And we'll add another option here. We'll add another option. Right, so I've started a poll. So you can go and vote. Which warmonger was worse? Was it George W. Bush, Trump, or Blair? So far, 100% Trump. That was quick. So, yeah, I've added Blair because it was the same time as Bush. So, you know, and although Blair was Bush's little poodle, that's what we called him in South Africa. So I don't know if it was the same here in the UK, but he was a bit of a, you know, sort of answering to his bosses. Come on, Trump all day long. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, so what the fuck is he doing? You know, he's got peace talks going on with Israel and with Ukraine and Russia. And he's now bombing Venezuela. Why is he bombing Venezuela? Oil. It's that simple. Oil. Money. Everything that Trump does is about money. It really is. He is not interested in, he's a narcissist. He's a complete and total, absolute narcissist. He will never do anything wrong in his mind. This is in his mind. So in his mind, he will never do anything wrong. He's always right. The time he belittled Zelensky at the White House when Zelensky went there in his sort of, you know, war gear, which I had no issue with whatsoever, but Trump took it as an affront to himself, which was absolute BS, you know. As we all know, we've said it loads, that Churchill visited the States and was wearing his overalls. So it's a thing, you know, if a nation is at war, the head of state doesn't walk around in a three-piece bloody suit, do they? They are ready for war, ready for action. Perhaps not Keir Starmer. I can't see our current batch of politicians actually going to war. None of them. If anybody can think of one, please, please let me know. But I can't see any of them actually, being on the front line or taking up arms to protect this land. So yeah, we live in a time that is absolutely terrifying. I thought things were bad in the 80s during the Cold War. Even though I was living in South Africa at the time, we still had that fear of a nuclear war. And obviously the movie came out, Threads, which I watched and was terrified by it, especially seen as it focused on Sheffield being the blast site. And of course, I was from Doncaster, which is so close. I would have been part of that blast site. Then there was Ultravox's song, Dancing with Tears in My Eyes, which used the same theme in its video. And then, of course, there was When the Wind Blows, that David Bowie sang the song for, which was a cartoon animated film, which was also incredibly, incredibly sad, about two old people. And we are now living in the same era. But the scariest thing is that we have immediate access to what is going on. So, like the fact that Trump has now, sent missiles into Venezuela, we would have only found out about that in a few hours' time, or, the next day. We wouldn't have found out as quickly as we have, as it happens. And it is a what the fuck moment. What are these people doing? Why can't they just leave shit alone? It is just, when I look at the topics that I've got for my What the Fuck show tonight, this just sort of tops the whole thing. It really does. It's just like the hypocrisy of this man who is trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize by hosting, I've broken a nail. I hate that when you break a nail. What the fuck, a broken nail. Trying to get a peace prize with Israel and Palestine and with Russia and Ukraine, and then goes and bombs Venezuela. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. The only sense that there is monetary. That's it. And OMD's Enola Gay. Yes, Frankie's Two Tribes as well. Absolutely, Mithril. That video was terrifying. It was Reagan and was it Gorbachev who he was fighting in the ring in that video. Enola Gay, though, was about Enola Gay, the actual plane that dropped the neutron bomb on Nagasaki, which incidentally, I believe that Trump wanted to change that. It could be just a story that somebody started, but wanted to change the name of it because it had the word gay in. Trivia question, no Googling. Why the name Enola Gay? Oh, I know this and I can't remember. I cannot remember. Oh, no, I'm so annoyed. So annoyed. I always thought that Two Tribes song was about the miners' strike. No, it was definitely about, because in the video, they actually are fighting each other in the ring. I can't remember. Was it named after somebody? After the pilot's mother or girlfriend? Okay. Yeah. I just thought that was before I said that before I actually saw that comment, Chris. So thank you for that. Yeah. I thought it was named after, pilot's mother's name. Okay. Hi, Joe. Thanks for joining. And anybody else who's joined who I have missed, I do apologize. YouTube is being a bitch. Sorry, YouTube. I do apologize. The name of the mother of the pilot of the plane that dropped the nuclear bomb on Nagasaki. Yeah. Oh, you've got a new furry friend, Stephen. Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Is it a dog or a cat? Because I can't, the feed goes so quickly sometimes. Politics was an integral part of music back then. Record companies are too scared nowadays. Absolutely. You know, New Model Army, one of my favorite bands, they did a lot of tracks about politics. Billy Bragg, a lot of punk bands did a lot of tracks about politics. The Clash, London's Burning, U2, Sunday Bloody Sunday. A 14-year-old cat. Oh, did you get it from a rescue, Stephen? That's wonderful. What other bands were there that did a lot of... well, Sisters of Mercy did the song Lucretia, which talked about Mother Russia. So there was that song, but there were a lot of songs at that time that were very, very, you know, political. And, you know, with... The Name Has Just Gone. He was on the news earlier. The guy that got shouted at, and the other band that got shouted at, the Irish band and the other guy that got shouted at. I just think, you know, if you're going to sing political stuff, sing political stuff. Why should those people be denigrated for what they sing? I suppose maybe, this is just a thought, maybe if it was a right-wing band, we would have an issue with it. So maybe as far as left-wing politics go, there has to be some sort of balance. Where did UB40 get their name? No Googling. The name of the form, DSS form. That I do know. That I do know. It was filling out a UB40 form. Unemployment benefits. I do know that one. This is great, this, asking where these bands got their names. I'm sure it was meant to be, and Uncle Tommy was a pure gentleman. Uncle Tommy. I'm lost now. I'm lost. Card for the unemployment benefit. Yeah. There was an American band that had Kennedy in it, Dead Kennedys. Yeah, one of my favorite bands. California Uberalis was one. Holiday in Cambodia talks about Pol Pot. I have that CD. I actually love Dead Kennedys. Yeah. So, yeah. If you produced it at a gig, you got in free. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, you don't get a card anymore. Well, you do. You get a log-on card, like with all your numbers on and stuff that you have to use when you first log on, and then you just sort of keep it in your purse. Billy Bragg was a master at it, absolutely. Need a band called P45. You know, somebody Google it. I bet there is a band called P45. And there's the band POD, which there has been some speculation over what it stands for, because proof of delivery is the word that I originally went for, because I worked in a courier company and a POD was a proof of delivery stamp or signature, but also proof of death. So, yeah. Best name ever is Mataratos, Rat Killer, of a Portuguese punk band that used the name of a rat poison. Rage Against the Machine, there's another very political band. Where the people were singing it, weren't they? That's another what the fuck moment. People were singing it, proof of death does. People were singing it and thinking that, oh, you know, raging against the left, but no, Rage Against the Machine were against the right. Because, you know, Tom Morello is not white, and one of the most brilliant guitarists of all time. Audio Slave, he does an amazing lead in it on Like a Stone. If you haven't listened to that track, just listen to that track. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm a massive Soundgarden and Audio Slave and Chris Cornell fan, and just absolutely brilliant lead that he does in that. It's one of those that stick in your head, and it's just beautiful. Best name. That was a good thing about job seekers allowance. It allowed you to explore different career paths, unlike UC, which tries to force claimants into any old job. Absolutely, Chris. They do. They do. They don't care what it is. So they force you to do a job that you don't like. And, that causes depression. And then you get the what the fucks like West Streeting saying that depression, there's too much depression. Too many people are being diagnosed with depression, but there are many reasons for it. Number one, we have much higher population than we had 20, 30 years ago. Technology, the fact that cost of living is so ridiculously expensive. COVID caused a lot. Kids out of school for 2 years. The prospects of buying a house, of owning a decent car and having kids are very, very few and far between now because of all of those constraints. So yes, depression is huge, absolutely huge. We see the news every single day that gives us this depressive bollocks. When do we ever see good news? And I know I'm talking about what the fuck moments today, so it sort of goes against the good news stuff. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a predictions show. I'm going to be using my crystal ball and some tarot cards, so we'll see how that goes. A lot of it's probably going to be bullshit, but there may be some stuff that people can relate to. Perfect Circle, absolutely. I love Perfect Circle. I love Tool as well. Tool 46 and 2, my favorite track, all about the end of the world. I love Maynard. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I do follow them. I did want to go and see them when they played here, but the tickets were far too expensive. Before people drunk themselves to death instead of having someone listen to them and even try and work out their issues with them. That's true, Joe. And, when we look at psychology as a whole, back in those times as psychology was, coming to the fore, the people that they focused on were the very wealthy, as in, talk therapy, or the very poor and the very, very mentally unwell people who were put into asylums. So there was nowhere to go with this depression. Miners, mill workers, all of those people didn't live long lives. They died at a very young age because of the work that they did. Life expectancy wasn't that great. There were no miracle cures like we have now. Penicillin, our injections against vaccines, against polio, and so on. Back in the Middle Ages and earlier, children who would have been born Siamese twins or with Down syndrome would more than likely have been unalived by the parents or by the midwife, because there would have been no way to look after those children. It was, those children were outcast in society, which is why they weren't seen, because they would unalive them. I wish I had the luxury of ignorance. Yeah, I sometimes wish that. Sometimes I wish that I was stupid and could, just sort of go la, 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 and just not pay attention to anything that goes on. Unfortunately, I have an inquisitive mind and I want to know more. And I do have a huge amount of emotions that I want to help fix the world. I can only do what the small amount that I do, I just do my part, and I'm pretty sure we all do our part. Chris, remember when my mum had her first breakdown? I was 15 or 16 and a support worker asked my younger sister how she was coping, but never asked how I was managing. This was in 1999-2000, because men were expected to just get on with it, weren't they? That's the thing. That is the thing. Women were known for their emotionality and men were known for their staunch sort of strength and non-emotions. Anger is an emotion, but that was accepted as being masculine. So Yeah, it was unfair, wasn't it? Very unfair. And we are now seeing more men step forward with depression and depressive symptoms because it is happening. And men are able to access that a little bit more. In another what the fuck moment, Andrew Tate lost his match against Chase de Moore, which was brilliant in my. I wish I had put money on Chase to win, because Tate was a high to win, so I would have got a decent amount of money back. I wish I'd have done it. I wish I'd have done it, but I'm not a betting woman. I don't bet on things. I don't even play slot machines, because I always, when I have played them, I've always lost. Yeah, it's a mug's game, isn't it? But if I'd have bet on that, I would have won quite a decent amount of money. Anyway, so he has been crying about the fact that he lost this fight, and it's all somebody else's fault. It's all God's fault. God meant it to be like that. So he, in his war room in his university, Tate's University, he claims that depression doesn't exist. He doesn't believe in it. And yet in his 1 hour long rant about losing and crying about losing, he said that nobody ever helps him when he's depressed. So there we go. We all know that Tate is a dick. Random soft cell non-stop erotic cabaret. The album saved my life. Love that album. Brilliant album. I'm tempted to get a lobotomy. Don't though, because they go through the eye. They don't. Do you like Bring Me the Horizon? I'm not actually that sure what they sing, Draco, so it'll be something that I will have to investigate. You were the one who stopped your mum from trying to unalive herself. Bless you, Chris. That must have been really, really hard to deal with. I'm so sorry that you went through that. I really am. I have no words, because there's something that I can't tell you this, because it's something that's very deep in my past, and maybe one day I'll write about it. But I think people who are wanting to remove themselves from the earth, we often see them as being selfish, but they're not. The pain that they suffer with is so great, that for them to move to that point of no return, it must be, because there are all those reasons in your head why not to do it, the people that you're leaving behind, and so on and so on and so on. So I'm really sorry that you went through that, Chris. Yeah, he is a sore loser. Tate, that is. Brother was in his mid to late 20s when he was finally diagnosed with schizophrenia, but it does excuse or detract from the fact that he's misogynistic, homophobia, racist. He hides behind it conveniently. Yeah, schizophrenia is a strange one. We can get the DSM out. Talk about schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is normally people who see things, hear things, unless they take their medication. So them having those tendencies is really nothing to do with schizophrenia. Let me have a look. Schizophrenia. Okay, we'll look at schizophrenia itself, page 295, I think. Let's have a look. Is this the right page? No, that's dissociative identity disorder. hang on. Go to the back, to the index. $122. Sorry, guys. I know silence is deafening, isn't it? 122. Schizophrenia. Persistent auditory hallucinations, delusions with significant overlapping mood episodes. It includes persistent delusions with periods of overlapping mood episodes that are present for a substantial portion of the delusional disturbance, such that the criterion stipulating only brief mood disturbance in delusional disorder is not met. Attenuated psychosis syndrome, which is characterized by psychotic-like symptoms that are below a threshold for full psychosis. For example, the symptoms are less severe and more transient, and insight is relatively maintained. Delusional symptoms in partner of individual with delusional disorder. So it's not giving me the stuff that I actually want to read here. Is it that page? No, that's trauma. That's PTSD. So yeah, somebody who's schizophrenic has these delusions that perhaps they are being followed or they're being chased, that they should do this. They hear voices which tell them that they need to do this, that, and the next thing. It could well be that they watch the TV and the TV is telling them to do things. The TV is not telling them to do things, but they hear that they have to do these things. And so they go and do these things. A schizophrenic who is not on medication, somebody who's very schizophrenic, can really, really suffer. And a lot of people who are on the streets, who are homeless, may well have schizophrenia. And there was a lady that I remember I used to see in town, and she used to just talk to walls, random walls, and people would laugh. And I'd be like, but she obviously thinks she's having a conversation with that wall. She can obviously see something in her mind that's there. The past mental health professionals just stated that I had low mood. Low mood, depression, you know, it is something that does happen. Hi, Andrea, thank you for joining. You weren't properly diagnosed with a mental health condition until my last stint in prison, where a psychiatrist took the time to sit with me and form the diagnosis of PTSD in my mid-30s. And Chris, I'm not surprised that you had PTSD from what you experienced with your mum. That is exactly what I would have diagnosed you with as well. And I probably would have taken a deeper look into that too. But it's good that you got the help that you needed. My single parent mother brought up sister and 5 boys, sister pregnant at 15, and poverty in the 50s, 60s was not easy or kind, but she was a rock, a dynamo with a lot of love, a lot of will to live. Mithil, my daughter has PTSD from stepdad abusing her, not SA, physical, but docs just gave her antidepressants. Yeah, people need therapy. They need to be able to access talk therapy, perhaps CBT or DBT. So CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy, where you are taught to have and work with different views and change your thought patterns. So if you think that you are going to do something, you will then have a different response to it by saying, okay, this is my old pattern. I was going to hurt myself, for example, but now I'm going to tear up a piece of paper, go for a walk, do something else. And it's putting that pattern into place. Whereas DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, is your mind talking, the mind conversation that we all have, the monkey brain. It always talks, it yaks away. And that's where we hear these things that tell us to do different things. So it's a bit more in depth and intense than CBT. Very hard to find anybody who practices it. And I don't think it's available on the NHS either. I shall put that next to me on my ever-growing mountain of books that I need to put away. My GP agreed that I most likely have PTSD, just threw some antidepressants at me and said, I see you're on the waiting list for therapy, keep waiting, laugh out loud. Yeah. If you can, Andrea, if you can afford it, have a look for a private therapist who offers a discounted rate if you are on benefits. I found one in my area and she is absolutely brilliant and I love her to pieces. I really, really do. I would not be here now if it wasn't for her. And yeah, a lot of them will offer a free consultation to start with, so you can see if you get on with them. And I saw quite a few different people before I actually chose her, because I interviewed them as well. So you've got to work with this person. You've got to be able to converse with them and tell them your deepest, darkest thoughts. So you need to be able to do that. So it's no good. For example, if a woman has been in an abusive situation or relationship with a man, her talking to a man is not going to help her. She needs to speak to a woman, and vice versa. You know, it is your choice to choose the type of therapist you want to have. The other alternative, Andrea, is there's a website called betterhelp.com, and they have therapists from all over the world. You can choose a therapist that you resonate with, your religion, your beliefs, if you are trans, if you are gay, and, you know, who you want to talk to, they will put you with the person best suited to you. I don't know what the costs are, but it might be worthwhile having a look at something like that as well. A lot of therapists also, since COVID, do face-to-face over Zoom as well. I had a couple of Zoom calls with my therapist. So yeah, I do prefer being face-to-face though. I do. It feels much more personal. Much more personal. Diz, you had DBT on NHS, only 6 sessions, but it was useful. Yeah, and I think it's something that you have to go on and continue with as well yourself. I think somewhere, sorry guys, I'm looking, I know I have a book somewhere about DBT. It could be next to where I sit, or it could be next to my bed, I'm not sure. So it's something that I know I will be looking at when I go back to my studies next year. I'm, you know, so glad that I postponed them. You were offered 6 30-minute sessions of CBT. Again, last stint in prison was put on a psychology-based offending behavior program, and that has helped me so much more than anything else I tried. The other thing that you can do is study psychology, because that will help you. It really, really will help you. A lot of people who study psychology are actually people who have gone through psychological problems, and they study it in order to learn it and to help people who have gone or are going through the same issues as them. NHS relies heavily on charities like Mind too much. Yeah, they do. Sorry, just having a look, see if I've missed anything. Yeah, they do. But the NHS has had to rely on Mind, hasn't it? Because of the 14 years of Tory bollocks that we had to live through, where they just took away funding for all of the services. So coming back to the what the fuck moments of 2025, the main one that I want to talk about, because I see it's 10 to 7 already. And the good thing is my stomach ache has gone. Zen and Stoicism helped me. Zen Buddhism is my anchor, Joe. Wouldn't be here without Plum Village. I'm pagan, and I practice my witchcraft, my daily spells, dedications. I'm not going to call them prayers, although they are similar to prayers, but they're not prayers. They are requests of the goddess, petitions to the goddess to help me gain insight into moving forwards with what I need to do in my life. You know, so whichever helps you. Even if you just do, you know, something like a daily affirmation, Google daily affirmations, and it will come up with a huge list of affirmations, different websites you can go look at, and just choose one for the day. I do one every day. A simple one that I do every day is I look in the mirror, and I always see my mom, and I see another lady who is really lovely friend of mine who said to me the same thing that my mum did, you can do it. And this was after my ex left. And so every time I look in the mirror and repeat that, I see those two faces next to me. But there are other affirmations that I do as well. So that's just one of the things that I do. Pagans talk to their gods as adults. Yeah, not on our hands and knees. Absolutely. Absolutely, Mithril. Definitely. Definitely. I converse with them as if they're standing in the room with me. You know, I have shouted at them as well. I have told them to F off when things didn't, go, and I thought that they were to blame. They weren't, obviously. I mean, it's me, because our gods and goddesses are our higher selves. So we visualize them or see them as these beings, but each one of them has characters that we all have. We all possess those characters. Some of us hold those characters highly. Some of us don't show those characters. My pagan side rituals are rather simple. I just go into the woods and feel and listen to them in the wind. Joe, I run every day in the woods. I don't like running on the streets, the cars and traffic and people. The woods is great. I see the birds, I see the squirrels, and then in spring I get to see the flowers and the leaves, and can't wait for warmer weather. And it really does, bring me back to my real self and who I am and where I'm from. And that's why I'm so pleased that I'm going to this New Year's Eve party, which is going to be in the forest around a fire. We're eating stew and curry, and it's going to be communal, and we're all taking things along, and it's just going to be lovely. So that to me is far better than going out to a pub drinking. I'm going to be taking apple juice with me because I've got 2 races. I've got a race in January and then a race in February. So I don't want to go back to drinking again. There are some rituals that I was taught, but even those are very simple and clear. We are one with life and nature, and we just need to sync. Exactly. I have a collection of stuff on my desk that I pick up when I'm out in nature. I'm just looking if I've got one closer to me. Here we go. This is only one container with feathers in. I have containers of feathers all over my house, and I just pick them up and put them down somewhere in my house. I've got loads on my altar. That's a swan feather. Actually, it's very dirty, but that is from a swan. Nice white feather. Goose feathers, lots of pigeon feathers. But I've got pheasant feathers. Where was that now? I think it was there. I've got pheasant feathers. I've actually got a few owl feathers as well. Yeah, I've got quite a few different feathers that I've collected over the years. And even when I'm at my mum's, I'll pick up a feather and I'll just leave it in the bedroom at my mum's. And my mum said, "Did you put that feather in the bedroom?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was me, Mum. I did that." She's like, I thought so, because I think she has a cleaner who comes in because my mum can't do it anymore. She's just far too old, and she can't see anyway. I mean, she's pretty much blind, and so her house is not dirty. In no way is her house dirty. So she comes in, and I think she asked my mum about the feather, and my mum said, "No, leave it there. Trump latest will knock the hell out of Iran if it tries to rearm," Trump says. Oh, God, will somebody put an end to him? Favorite tree I sit under? Yeah, red cedar. I go and put my palm on the trunk or give it a hug when there's no one around and spend some time sitting under it watching the deer. That's beautiful, Andrea. You must live in a really beautiful area that you have deer there. I also have several trees in different places that I go and visit and give hugs to. I don't care what people think. I really don't. But that's me. Not all of us are ready to come out of the broom closet. It's all bloody seagulls and urban pigeons around here. Bless you, Mithril. I learned to hunt when I was a kid, but quickly I started to hunt with my camera and my notebook. I like the thrill of finding the animal and watching it without knowing I am there. absolutely. I talk with trees too, and I talk to myself, I talk to my cats, I talk to my plants, I talk to my trees. To me, it's just normal and natural. So let me just talk about one what the fuck issue today that's not related to Trump, but is a very traumatizing and painful issue, especially for women, is Giselle Pellicot, who was actually I've got the Wikipedia page open here to talk from. She was French, and she was given illicit substances and raped by her husband, Dominique Pellicot, on numerous occasions between 2011 and 2020. But he also invited dozens of men, contacted her through a website to rape her while she was unconscious, and mostly in their home, and he recorded it. So Dominique and 50 other men went to trial for aggravated rape, attempted rape, essay in Avignon in 2024. And Giselle, very brave woman, waived her right to anonymity at a trial behind closed doors. And there is also a case where a woman here in the United Kingdom who has had something similar, which is current, and I'm going to be doing some videos on that, has done the same thing. She's also waived her anonymity. And I think that it is really, really strong that a woman can do that, because we need to stand up against these disgusting crimes. This is, I know it's a difficult topic. I know it's triggering for many of us who have been through similar things. But I do think that it's important that we do discuss them, because we need to educate the younger women who are out there now and who may go on to experience this. Many men, not all men, absolutely hate women. They treat us as objects to use, to abuse for their own purposes. They don't want women to have equality with them. They believe that women are less than. And again, I just want to stress here, not all men. We know there are good men out there, but we don't know which ones are good and which ones are bad, because men don't wear signs. And many men who appear to be good do turn out to be bad. And she was married to him. She was married to him. She knew nothing about this. She knew absolutely nothing about this. And the reason I've put it in with this year's What the Fucks is because they were actually found guilty this year and sentenced this year. There were a few who actually tried to appeal against what they were charged with, rape. And some of them actually decided not to go ahead with it, whereas one man did. Excuse me. And he actually was found that, you know, his original sentence still stood. Chicken and baked potato and an apple juice. So yeah, the retrial of the man who appealed his great conviction, the appeal was unsuccessful, and the appellant's sentence was increased from 9 to 10 years imprisonment. So that's a good thing. But I think a lot of you know my thoughts on rape, especially of this nature, of this atrocity, is that those men should get life in prison. Because so much of what I research shows me that the men who have had, who go on to do this, will then go on to unalive somebody else when they get out of prison. So there was also a website, I think it might have been on Telegram, of 70,000 men who were teaching each other how to rape. that was uncovered this year as well. I have actually done videos on this. I will pop the links into the description box after I've finished here. I did want to do it before, but time ran out today. But yeah, 70,000 men teaching each other how to grape. And this just shows me that men do not like women. And again, I know that it's not all men. I do know that. But it's time that men who have friends who do things like that, who are perhaps seen as a bit bawdy with their mates, oh, look at her, give her one, she's wearing that dress, or even men who will say to a mother who's got a little girl in the pram, oh, she's going to break a lot of hearts when she's older. That is a misogynistic thing to say. Sexualizing a little baby already. Sexualizing a little baby already. And you know something? We as women would not even think that unless we were told. Sort of like, oh yeah, that is a man sexualizing a baby. And we know that so many men do, you know, commit that atrocity with babies. There was a case in South Africa when I still lived there. I can't remember how many men, but it was a belief that if they slept with a virgin, it would stop them getting AIDS or cure them of AIDS, and they raped a baby. Gang raped a baby. It's not all men, but it's far too many, no matter their statistics. Absolutely, Stephen, it is far too many. Joe, in my work, I had to deal with women and children victims of abuse, and I cannot, as a man, forgive such behaviour. Yeah, I knew you meant statistics, Stephen, don't worry. And that is the 70,000 men we know about. Yeah, it will be worse on the dark web. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I wouldn't even know how to get onto the dark web. I wouldn't even try. I mean, you know, if the police have to look at my search history, I do look at specific cases and things like that because it's what I'm studying, but also it's the content that I put out that I'm working on. On the flip side, what about a woman saying to a young boy's mother that he is going to break a lot of hearts when he is older? No, I agree with you 100%. Absolutely agree with you 100%. And it is instilled in us via the patriarchy that women will think that that's okay to say because it's been seen as okay for men to say that about little girls. So there is, I completely agree with you there. It's not okay for a woman to say that about a little boy. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, Sarah Davies. Don't worry about being late. You missed the fun. You did miss the fun, though. We're on to the more serious stuff now. So if you get a chance, go back and watch the first hour. But yeah, Chris, I do actually 100% agree with you on that. I'm not offended. I do agree. There are certain things that we have been taught over the centuries that these things are acceptable, which are ingrained in the patriarchy. For example, the term rule of thumb. I absolutely detest that term. It comes from the fact that the rule was that a man could not beat his wife with a stick that was any thicker than his thumb. So that, I don't use that. I don't use that phrase. It really, really, really irks me when I hear it. Joe, yes, men and women are equally capable of evil. Both are humans. Absolutely. However, when we look at the statistics, we know that men are the main perpetrators. That is just an absolute fact. We cannot deny that. We cannot deny that. There are women out there that are horrendous. But the fact is that the majority of these crimes are committed by men. I don't want to get into the children aspect of it because that is a whole other side of things that just makes me so sad. I was watching a video earlier today. It came up on my feed. It was a woman who had terminal cancer, And she had actually studied to become a doctor while she had terminal cancer. And her partner was abusing her when she was very, very ill. She actually recorded the things he was saying to her. And I'll link it actually into the description box. I'll probably put it into my psychology list as well, so you can go and have a look at that if you want to. I cried. I absolutely cried. She did pass last year from the cancer, but she fought right up until the end with this man. She had to, he had done it to previous girlfriend, wife. He had done it before. And he still, when he was being arrested, denied it all. And yet there he is on recordings doing exactly what he denied. And it was horrendous. And that is something that happens in a lot of relationships, is a man will often leave a woman if she falls terminally ill or very, very ill, because he doesn't want to be the carer. He believes that he is the one that needs to be cared for. And in fact, a lot of the things that this man said in this video was, when am I going to get taken care of? You know, so it's always that putting himself first, and very narcissistic. This man was very narcissistic, but also it is a quality that a lot of men do carry. And again, it comes ingrained in our history. The patriarchy has said to us, you know, men are more important than women. Women must look after men. That's what, and we are now seeing in the last 50 years a massive change from Gen X into the modern sort of era where women are realizing that they do not need a man in their life, and especially one who is going to treat her like absolute shit. People just don't think about the etymology behind words and phrases. I refuse to use the words biatch or yeah, for the same reason. Yeah, I must admit, I do use the see you next Tuesday. I think it is a very, very powerful expletive to use. So yeah, I think that, unless you're speaking about an actual cow, yeah. I think it's the, you know, the fact that we have been coerced as women and men to believe that men are right. So many times when I'm online and I am in a chat or troll group talking about women's rights and equality, so many men will say, we gave you those rights, forgetting the fact that women fought for those rights, forgetting the fact that men, the average man in the street, didn't have those rights either. It was only the elites that had the rights of voting and equality. And we still, as women, and I know there may be some of you that disagree with me, but we still don't have equality. And that's a whole different story. And I'm not going to talk about that here. But it is a fight that women must not give up. And then we have to look at our sisters, our trans sisters and trans men. You know, we know as women, there are men on our side. We know that there are men that believe that what we believe, that are good-hearted, good-natured, and love women. But we also know that there are many men who don't. And like I said before, we don't know which ones are which. We can't tell. So when we are out walking in the street, women will now look down or have their earbuds in or pretend to be on the phone, or even if they are on the phone. When I run in the woods, there's dog walkers that go there, men and women. And a lot of them I do know. So, you know, I greet them and so on. But if there's somebody strange, I won't. I'll sort of think, okay, where are they going? Do I change my route? Or, you know, I give them a wide berth. I won't, you know, approach them. It's, women are always looking around them for what is the next, you know, the words just eluded my brain again. I'm having one of those days. The next threat. What is the next threat that's coming our way? And children, even young boys, will harass older women. And there is nothing, absolutely nothing that a woman can do against kids. Nothing. Not allowed. You would be the one that would be held responsible. Education is very important. It absolutely is. And that's why with the Women and Girls, the Violence Against Women and Girls Bill, which I really wish they'd change the name, is going to be looking at education in schools. But it's also educating the parents. The parents need to also be educated, because so many of us, and again, this is another one of those phrases that has this patriarchal background to it, boys will be boys. We need to stop using that. And we need to stop saying that, because no, boys need to change. Those actions of boys pulling hair or looking up a girl's skirt, they need to change. They need to stop. And of course, with the internet at the moment and the AI availability of, creating adult content by using people that you know is even scarier. Even scarier. My birdie is tweeting at me on my phone. Apparently I've not done something. Yeah, it is so these what the fuck moments this year, I might talk about more of them tomorrow. I've still got them all up on my computer. If men disappeared for 24 hours, the first thing I do is just go for a walk at night and look at the stars. Absolutely. Andrea, I'm lucky I live in an area that is a pretty semi-rural area. But when I do go to the forest that I go to, the pagan forest that I go to, yeah, that is what I do. And most women would. Most women would be so happy to walk out at night and just feel safe. To just feel safe. Because the phrase is men are the protectors, isn't it? Men are the protectors. But what are they protecting us from? They're not protecting us from wild animals, because we don't really have that threat anymore. They're protecting us from other men. So, yeah. Heard several reports of female teachers talking about the tatification of young lads at school. Yeah, definitely. I have spoken to my nephew about Tate, and he hates him. He's got his head screwed on, though, my nephew. He really has. He's studying economics. So, he's at college now studying economics. He does want to go to the LSE, but yeah, he is. Maths is his thing. I have no issue to show any impolite idiot how to behave with a woman, and I've done so in the past. How hard is it to be decent and civil? Joe, absolutely agree with you. It's not hard. But a lot of people won't go and step in. A lot of men who have friends who are of that ilk won't say anything to their friend, because they are fearful of their friend calling them out or calling them a sissy or a wussy or whatever. It's the locker room banter that has always been there with men. And it is time that has to go. And I'm not saying that women don't have similar such conversations. They probably do. So if, we have such an experience, then we need to call that out too. Your older brother shouted to you when you were about 8 or 9 years old, walk like a effing boy, you walk like a lassie. My sister came from nowhere, belted him and said, he's happy, he walks like a dancer. Yeah. Explains the phrase alpha male. Yes, thank you, Chris. I'm going to have to copy that. won't copy. Won't copy. Bollocks. Okay, there we go. There we go. I'm just copying it and then pasting it into a new tab. And then I can watch it. It might be something that I've already seen. I don't know. It's saying the video is not available anymore. So it could be that I've not got the full link there. Yeah. What's the name of the video, Chris? And what is the channel? Then I can go and have a look, because I do have, I've got a section, I do have some watch lists of Andrew Tate. There's the ones that I have done, my investigations into Tate, and then there are the ones where other people have done investigations into Tate, and I've just linked their videos in as well. And I still have to do that bloody email. So, bloody buttons. Mithril, your COPD makes you sound like a heavy breather on the phone lines. I don't think most women actively consider predation. We don't. It is just there. It is just there all the time. It is just there. And as girls, we are taught to be aware of men and boys and what they do. That is what we are taught. The angry sperm. I love that. Be smart. Thank you. Thank you. I will find that. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing that. So tomorrow evening, guys, I'm going to be doing predictions with my crystal ball and get some of my tarot cards out, and we'll have a bit of a laugh. Tonight sort of didn't go the way I wanted it to, because there were other lots of what the fuck moments that I wanted to discuss, but we ended up discussing other what the fuck moments. Any latest news on what the orange one is doing, Chris? Scientific life that damaged generations of men. Scientific lie, not life. Yeah. Absolutely. And is it even scientific, or is it some trumped up, person who thinks that they're a scientist who, decided to come up with this alpha male bollocks? Because it is bollocks. It is absolutely bollocks. As I've said to many people in my comments when they've been trolling me, and they, oh, you don't know what an alpha male is. And I said, well, neither do you, because you're not one. If you support Tate, you're then a beta. You're not an alpha. No comebacks. No comebacks to that. So yeah, tomorrow night, 6 p.m, I am going to do some sort of predictions for 2026 with my crystal ball. I'm not going to be available on New Year's Eve, because I'm going to a pagan thingy, which I'm so excited about. First, I went to a New Year's Eve do a few years ago when my ex first left me. But this is more my home thing, Draka and Alexis, if you're watching, you know what I mean. I'm starting 2026 as an adoptive furry parent. Bittersweet moment, but I won't let Clara down. Oh, beautiful. And I don't think you will, Stephen. I don't think you will. Our fluffy bombs are the best things that ever happened to us. They really are. Last night, oh my God, last night, I only got to sleep at 4. Why? Because it was one cat after another that came in and wanted attention. And I can't say no, because if I do, they just bash me in the face or walk all over my head. And Buttercup, she is the one that owns me. I think you asked me recently which one owns me. And she does this with her claws in my head. She thinks I've got fur, and it's not, it's hair, and it really hurts. And Florence actually wanted loads of attention yesterday, which is very unusual for Florence. She got on the bed. I'm like, hello, sort of, what are you doing here? And she was very, very itchy. She's got very, very dry skin. So I have to put lots of olive oil on her. I use olive oil. It works better than anything else. I did buy her some cat stuff but the olive oil works much better for her. Trump has announced that the US hit a Venezuela dock where illegal substances were allegedly loaded. Oh, yes, Bin Podcast. Yes, Bin Podcast is live. And then I believe that Regan Elite is going live at 8 p.m. So please join him. Chris, if you could pop that link for Regan Elite in the chat, that would be great. Fantafura has striked again. Yeah, he has. He's just a menace. He really is a menace on this earth. And the fact that people voted for him and they just think that he's the best thing since sliced bread, and I just don't get it. Apparently I have to call her in an Irish accent. Uncle Tommy, very strong Irish man. This will be fun. Oh, thank you for popping that link up, Chris. So guys, I'm going to head off now because I want my pudding. My stomach sorted itself out, so I'm going to have Christmas pudding and brandy cream. Don't forget, tomorrow, 6 p.m, crystal ball, tarot cards, predictions for 2026. It'll be a load of bollocks. It will be nothing serious at all, because I'm pretty sure that next year is probably going to be way worse than this year, because isn't that the way that it always goes? So have a wonderful evening, and I will speak to you all tomorrow. Blessed be. Mwah.